Welcome, this is All Astrology, and today is January 13th. I'm about to do a reading. This will be for Leo Ascendant, Leo Risings. Today, Saturn and Pluto are conjunct. They are conjunct at approximately 23 degrees. Well, it's 2254, but if you look at the degrees, if it's like 23, 30 and above, you just automatically, go to the next level. So it's 23 degrees. Saturn and Pluto are together. Saturn is about restrictions. Saturn is about government. Saturn is about big business. Saturn is about structures, but traditional structures, things that took a long time to build. Because that is Saturn, that is Capricorn energy, stuff that took a long time to build. If you're a Leo Ascendant, Leo Rising, got Capricorn in your 6th house. So in your 6th house, which has been work, right? Which has been job, which has been health. So what the hell does that mean for you? Like I said, this is going to be a free reading, and I'm going to give out a birth date, time, and place. But before I do that, I want to expand much more on Saturn and Pluto. Today, they are officially conjunct. If you have any planets at 23 degrees in Capricorn, you already know about this all too well because it would have hit you long before any of us who don't have it. And if you have anything squaring it, meaning if you have any planets in either Libra or Aries at 23 degrees, you would have felt this. It would show up as stress. It would have made a giant T-square if you have it at both. If you have something up here in Aries, and if you have something down here in Libra, and then you had over here in Capricorn, you had this Saturn and Pluto, and you had something here at 23 and something here, that's a gigantic T-square. And that means it's time to change, right? It means change has arrived, and don't fight it because it's Saturn and Pluto together. It means whatever lasting structures existed are no longer going to be. That's what that means. Depending upon where this could be, again, for Leo Ascendant, Leo Risings, this would be in your 3rd and your 9th house. So this is everything to do with what you think, how you communicate. This has to do with your belief systems, your philosophy on life, your faith. That's the 9th house, your faith. It's higher learning. The 3rd house is how I think, and that's where the Libra energy would be. So if you have something in Libra at those degrees, take a look at how you think about things. Take a look at how you communicate, especially in significant one-on-one relationships, because you've got Libra there. And Libra is all about committed relationships. It's all about areas that you are willing to compromise with somebody else. It could have to do with business relationships. It could have to do with a relationship in which you seek counsel from somebody. It could have to do with a relationship in which you are the counselor, where you give counsel to people. If it's up there in the 9th house, that means you have Aries up there. Aries is very fiery and very impulsive. So they would be quick to latch on to new things that are expansive. They would be wild about it. They would be hot for those things because that's Aries, and they would take action. They wouldn't just sit there and think about it. They'd be like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm going after this new belief, this new religion. In my mind, people who are Aries Aries in their 9th house, these would be individuals, depending upon other things in their chart, where they could be easily swayed. Maybe not for long, but because they're very impulsive, they may hear something and it may sound wonderful and beneficial and like out of this world, and they would be all over it for those reasons. And so I see Aries people, because Aries typically represents the child of the zodiac. It's the first sign. So when it comes to the house of their beliefs, depending upon other things in your chart, this may be an area of your life where you have to develop more deeper layers into your belief system. There may be almost a innocence, for lack of I think that's actually a really good word. I'm going to say lack of a better word, but no, I think that's probably the best way to say it. Aries does definitely represent that area of your life where you express a sense of innocence. So if somebody brings something to your awareness that you had no idea of before, it's new. Aries loves new stuff. Because new things equal excitement to Aries. And Aries also like to feel as though they're the leader of this thing. So they hear this new idea, they latch onto it, and they think, oh, great, I am going to now express this. I'm going to share this. I'm going to teach this, because it's the 9th house. It's Sagittarius. We right away think, oh my God, I love this. I'm going to teach this. That doesn't mean you can't do that. However, it means to take a hard look at the realities. Have you studied? Do you know this? Did you go to school? How long have you been working at it? Because Aries tend to think, because they're Aries, right? So we all have this somewhere in our chart. We all have Aries in a house. So wherever Aries is in that placement, that is the area of your life where you're impulsive, where you think you've had to do something for a long time and you haven't. Because Aries wants it now. It's the child, right? It's the little kid. I see the candy cane. I want it now, right? Now, now, now. For me, me, me. That is Aries. Now that's a low expression of Aries. And we all express these different layers of expression at different times in our life. So this is not picking on anybody, because trust me, I have Aries and I have lots of planets where I have Aries. And there's definitely areas of my life where I was just like the first one out of the gate, very impulsive, only because it was new. And yeah, I realized, holy crap, as soon as it wasn't new anymore, it wasn't exciting. And that's a pretty tough thing to realize, because I don't know, like sometimes the newness runs out. Like how far will you go to experience something new? And that is kind of what this is. Aries in the ninth house are people who are really ready for that next adventure, and they're willing to climb for it. You know, they're willing to go. They're willing to go with head first, dive in head first. That is Aries. They're willing to fight for it too, because that's ruled by the marine thing. But that's for you. If you're Leo, Ascendant, Leo, Rising, this is in your ninth house. All right. So this is your belief systems. This is your religion. This is your faith. Okay. This is your higher learning. That, if you have planets there at 23 degrees, that is squaring the Saturn and Pluto thing. What a pain in the butt. What a pain in the head. What a pain in the heart. It's about what you believe. So there might have been major stress and challenge. Oh, I don't believe anymore, right? I've kind of given up on faith. There are people who just said, I renounce all religions. I don't believe in something greater than me. Like there's just nothing there. I don't, a lot of people, feel that way and get discouraged. Here's the whole point of the front part of this video. Have faith, folks. Jupiter is being reborn in Capricorn. So look to see what planet you have. And it can be, not to make this confusing, but if something squares Capricorn, understand that a benefit to the Capricorn energy is going to be in the earth signs. The benefit is going to be at the degrees between 10 and 14 degrees of earth signs. So 10 and 14 degrees of Taurus, 10 and 14 degrees of Virgo. Jupiter is being reborn at those degrees in Capricorn. So wherever Capricorn is in your life. So Leo, Ascendant, Leo, Risings, Capricorn's in your sixth house. Actually, the chart I'm looking at right now, at this degree, at between 10 and 14 for this particular person, which, by the way, I will go ahead and give out that information. Actually, I don't have it up yet. Hold on. I've been having internet issues. Give me one more minute for it to pull it up. You'll be having a Jupiter birthday in your fifth house. Now, the fifth house is with children. It is your romance. If you're in a committed relationship, it's the romance in that relationship. If you're not in a relationship, it is the dating scene, right? The fifth house is our creativity. It's our romance. It's that house of having a good time and laughing, having fun. It's also the house where we take risks. Jupiter is having a birthday there, which means the sun has pulled away from Jupiter. Now its beneficial rays can come down and wrap their divine wings around us and hold us, protect us, take care of us, send us beams of beneficial energy. That's what that means. It's exciting. It sends us optimism in our relationships, in our romance life, in children, in joy, in creativity. So you're going to find that you're going to feel more optimistic. You're going to find that it's easier to laugh. You're going to find it's going to be easier to have a good time, especially in terms of if you have children, big time, this will help. Especially in areas if you're dating, right? It'll help. You'll have more fun again in that area. It'll help if you're in a committed relationship. If you're married, this will help the romance department. It'll ignite a flame. Uranus is forward. It's moving forward. All planets are moving forward right now. So since all planets are moving forward and Jupiter is having a birthday here, this is a very powerful time to get what we want, but more importantly, to get what is important to us, to get what we value. Look where Taurus is in your chart. Leo Ascendant, Leo Risings, okay? Taurus is going to be in your 10th house of career, your 10th house of I would do this even if I didn't get paid. Find out what that is. This is going to be an important time to really get to the bottom of that, to really figure that out, because you have this potential right now. In the next 2 weeks, we have Jupiter having a birthday, which means it's emanating its beneficial rays, and we're going to have on the 24th, 25th of January, we're going to have our new moon intention, okay? And I just got a birth date that came up for this chart. It is March 8th, 1981, 4:08 p.m. This is Jefferson, Indiana. You've waited, and here it is, and I thank you for your patience. You have Uranus, you have Aquarius in your 6th house. You have some Capricorn and Aquarius in your 6th house. So when the new moon happens, the new moon is happening in the early degrees of Aquarius, like 4 degrees of Aquarius. This is right in your 6th house. Use the energy, use this Jupiter energy, use all the planets going forward, use Uranus and Taurus about what's really important to you. Really hone in on that and focus and use your new moon intention. Now remember, this is going to benefit not just you, but for the greater good of all. That's what this is about. In general, for everybody listening, whether you're a Leo moon or a Leo sun or whoever you are listening, I don't care who you are, find where Capricorn is in your chart. Understand that the degrees, and because of all the planets there, the megastellium, this takes on a whole different frequency. It is an octave above the rest. It is the unicorn energy expressing the best. And that is what this is about. What have I learned so far in my life right now? What do I have? What skills have I acquired that can benefit not just me, but that can benefit the greater good, that can benefit the world? This is what you want to focus on. That means digging down deep and finding out what really is your skill set. Now, getting down to the nitty-gritties of this birth chart, I want to first explain what you've been going through. I don't know how far you are into astrology or how long you've been looking at it or other esoteric material. Your chart shows a very strong desire for knowing things that are way below the surface. So you have the capability to be all about something like astrology, which takes people who can have minds that think on layers and who can keep on digging. It takes the mentality of a researcher, of a scientist. You have to have all these things, and you have them actually. You have placements in your chart that show science, high intellect. You love people who actually are smart. Actually, you're very drawn to that. You very much don't like just surfacey crap. You are all about things being the occult. Things being, I know there is more than what's on the surface. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I want to keep searching. You love knowing the unknown. The esoteric stuff is right up your alley. You think very deep. You think in deep layers, and you have a lot of retrograde planets in your chart, my friend. So with a combination of all these retrograde planets, typically what does retrograde mean in a chart? It not only means that we internalize things as individuals, but we're constantly thinking inside. And whenever we have a communication with somebody else, we right away internalize it and we analyze what we just said. We analyze what we're thinking and we're wondering about it. And it's constantly going on. And you have a lot of retrograde planets. So on many layers, you're doing this. And it probably you might be catching yourself lots, because we all have this broken record that goes around with certain thoughts. You may feel as though this happens a lot for you because you have other things that would lead to that. You have a lot of things in the house of thinking, a lot of planets there. So there's a lot of energy, but it's deep thinking. It's deep, like psychological stuff, like transformational change. This is a theme of your entire life. Transformational change in relationships. Transformational change in the way I think about relationships. So what that means is, whatever you think you know about relationships, it's going to change. It's going to evolve. Your entire life is about that. It's not just right now. It's for your entire life. Significant one-on-one relationships. This can be business and work relationships as well, especially. Not just romantic relationships, but in particular, work and business relationships. How we communicate, how we use social media, the internet, all that is going through a major transformation. And it has all been squared. You have a 23-degree Pluto, which is an exact square to the Saturn-Pluto conjunction we're experiencing today. All right, but you've been feeling it because you would have felt this long before the rest of us because you have matching degrees. You have an exact square. But not only do you have a square, but you have a T-square. This involves your moon, so it involves your emotions. Okay, your moon is here, your Pluto is here, and then the T, at the bottom of that T is Saturn and Pluto, the transiting Saturn and Pluto. So you've been dealing with some major stuff, not light stuff, major transformations. This is your whole life, where you live, where you work, who you're with in your committed one-on-one relationships and your work relationships. All has been transforming. How you think and communicate, your belief systems, what you have faith in, if you have faith, developing a faith, maybe developing a new faith, finding a new religion. All this is changing. You're going through major transformations. You're going to be deep, having something to believe in is going to emotionally satisfy you. So finding that next best thing, it might be hard for you to stay with one thing, which is also another reason why astrology may appeal to you. And I'm not trying to sell astrology to you. I'm really not. Actually, when I did your reading, because I always, do a reading actually before I record it, I don't even have any of this written down. This is what's just coming out right now. That you have points and signatures in your chart that astrology would appeal to you. So that's why I kind of started off in the beginning, because it just all of a sudden came in where I don't know how long you've been studying this or dabbling, okay? But, this may be something that, if nothing else, will give you lasting peace, because astrology encompasses all belief systems. It doesn't matter what your religion is, doesn't matter what your belief is. Astrology is about the whole. It's about unity. It is about understanding that we are all one. We are all part of this, and that it honors all beliefs. So this might be something for you, because I know for me, again, I said I had a lot of stuff in Aries. I'm always learning something new here. I'm always learning something new. And the beauty of the astrology is, as you can see when you really start to study and analyze it, you can see the divine frequencies. You can literally see them on paper. And you understand there is something greater. There is this beautiful abstract energy, because we can't physically, tangibly see it, but you see it on paper. And you see the beauty when you see people struggling and going through hard times. And then you see this other planet coming in, swooping in like an angel, which is what I'm about to explain to you. So Jupiter Jupiter having a birthday is happening in your 5th house. Your business relationships, your romantic relationships, your work relationships. Jupiter is going to start to bring you some ease in those areas of your life. I want you to keep in mind to work within groups whenever possible. I know you're an optimistic human being, but I want you to know there might be some beneficial energy coming by way of somebody that you know, whether they're, like I said, intimate relationship or a one-on-one relationship. You might also be flirting around with somebody at a job. You might find that when you're at a job, right, because you've had a few jobs, you might find that jobs that you're in, there may be this, this romantic thing that happens, because you have Capricorn, the house of the work, the sign of the work house, in your 5th house. It occupies 75% of your 5th house. Well, the 5th house is the house of dating. It's the house of flirting, having fun. And so anytime a planet goes through there, like if it's Mars and Venus, like whenever that kind of stuff aspects it, or Juno, it's going to strike up this fun, flirty stuff for you. So I'll just come right out and say that stuff never works. There's never a benefit in that, not unless there's some way that one of you leave that job, because it doesn't work. Someone always gets burned. I just want you to keep in mind there's that struggle going on. Now, you have a big issue going on with your health. You have a certain amount of strength that you're endowed with because you have Capricorn in your 6th house. So what happens is, I call it a setup. It's like we have so much energy, so much strength, so much vitality. We can abuse our bodies in certain ways. Things that other people couldn't get away with. And our body doesn't send us any negative feedback. So we can continue to do these things because it's like, well, hell, it's not affecting me. But what happens is, over time, it ends up being not a good thing. It's like, oh, shoot, I probably shouldn't have, done this or that, right? So you have a nice amount of Capricorn in your house of health. You also have Aquarian energy, a lot of air in your 6th house. People who have a lot of air in that place need to be grounded. They find benefit when they ground themselves with the earth. So I just thought that you should know that, because that may help you. You have Neptune. The transiting Neptune is sitting right on your sun right now. It's a spiritual It's a deeply spiritual setup, signature, but typically, if we're not used to those high Neptunian energies, it takes away from our health and our vitality, and we feel a physical drain on our vitality. So you're feeling this right now, okay? And, you know, the best thing to do is to make sure you're getting proper sleep and proper maintenance of your health and of your body. Eat as well as you can. I am not a doctor, and I'm not going to even try to tell you anything else that what you should or shouldn't be doing for your body. You know what is best for you. And if you don't, you might want to spend time finding out. Because it looks as though having this Pluto squaring Pluto, Saturn and Pluto were in your 6th house, which means your health has been going through a transformation. Your health has become your job. Now, whether you have honored that or not, I don't know, but it's time to honor it. Because with this exact square you're getting, it's a complete breakdown at this point, where the body's like, hey, you haven't been paying enough attention, or you were aware of it and you kept putting it in the back corner. You can't do that anymore at this point. At this point, it becomes a complete and total breakdown. However, the planet Pluto by itself does not mean death. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's something you have to pay attention to. And because it's Pluto, Pluto can rise from the ashes, my friend. All right? But there will be a breakdown first of some sort, of whether it's the mental body, the physical body. It looks like it's definitely the physical body. You could have problems with your knees. There could be teeth problems, right? You might have not got all the teeth pulled that should have been pulled. You know, it might be stuff like that. But it's the structures. It could be the spine for you, right? It's all about the physical, tangible structures of the human body, because that is what Capricorn represents, structure. All right, so a lot of people say it's, you know, the bones in our skull, the teeth in our mouth, our spinal column, our knees. Capricorn definitely rules knees. So you might have areas that you knew you had problems with, and somehow they've got to the point where they have to be dealt with, and that's what this is. And that's all I'm saying is don't ignore this. Take care of it. Because likely you are being forced to take care of it whether you want to or not. It's going to take care of it for you. But the whole point is to learn what you need to move forward. And you're going to move forward because Jupiter is here. Jupiter is here. It's not in your 6th house. It's in your 5th house. But what's happening is it's in Capricorn. And all the planets are moving forward now. So right now, with all the momentum we have, it is about forward growth, forward movement. And it's for the best for our future, because that's what Jupiter represents, our future. And it gives us information as to how to move forward for our future and for the best, but not just for ourselves, but for all involved. With that said, sometimes moving together for the best for all involved could mean a relationship breakdown. Because again, you're not just, you know, I know you probably already went through this. You had a Saturn square Saturn. It would have started about a year and a half ago. And it was Saturn squaring Saturn, but that's exactly what that means. Work relationships completely deteriorated. Significant one-on-one romantic relationships completely deteriorated. This is what happened. That's what happens when Saturn squares Saturn. Typically, it completely ends something because it's basically its way of saying this was not for your highest and your best. It's hard to take, hard to swallow, I know. And we all have to go through this. We all face Saturn square Saturns. We all face Pluto. We all go through this stuff. So I don't say this, you know, with a light heart, but I just want you to know you've been dealing with a lot, because not many people have to face a Saturn square Saturn and then immediately a Saturn square Pluto and then a Pluto square Pluto. Not to mention a Pluto squaring your Saturn. Like, you've been dealing with a lot of stuff. You are one strong individual, very strong individual. Now, with that said, I'm going to give you some dates. I feel like I've been talking forever. And what I want you to be aware of is January 20th, the end of this month. Today's the 13th. There's going to be some strong ego tendencies. This may happen at work. This may happen in romantic relationships if you're dating anybody or if you're not. You have to be careful at this time. There is a tendency where if we have this strong ego, we feel like we want to fight. We feel irritable. We have less patience. So you can feel this way, but so can others in your life at this time. And so I just send the warning out. So January 20th, and that's giving you a couple days. So like the 19th, the 20th, the 21st, the 22nd. Just be aware to hold your tongue. to think before you speak type of thing, to step back and observe. You don't want to be taking any personal risks, that's for sure, okay? This could affect your health. Now, I know you don't want to hear this because you're already experiencing stuff that could affect your health, but understand that this additional thing that could affect your health is literally just for this time. It involves Mars. Around the 20th, Mars will be conjunct your natal Neptune. Mars represents our physical body. So when your physical body gets close to Neptune, Neptune is not about the physical world. Actually, it tries to dissolve the physical world, and it tries to bring in the higher frequencies. So normally we feel a little run down at that time. But it's going to pass because Mars moves fast, all right? It's not going to be forever. So I just thought you should have a heads up so you don't get discouraged, okay? Now, with that said, let me give you another date. We're going to move this up to the 6th of February, all right? And the 6th of February, you want to be very careful about having personal delusions, especially in the romance department, whether it's someone that you knew that comes along or someone that you're seeing already. Understand you're under the Neptune effect at this time, and it's going to cloud your vision. You have very idealistic views about individuals in terms of love. Your sun and your sun and Mars and your Venus are all together, and they're all in Pisces. That means very dreamy stuff, all right? That means your vision, how you see is through rose-colored glasses, probably a really sweet, beautiful individual. But when it comes to others, you probably have a tendency to over-sacrifice. You probably have a tendency to be able to do for others in ways that they can never return to you, and you definitely would do this with significant others. I also want you to be aware that come around Valentine's Day, the 14th, there is going to be, for all of us, there's a setup where we are going to want to indulge, okay, in things that we really enjoy. So by way of alcohol or substances, whatever those may be, this is for all of us, but for you in particular, because Neptune is directly on your sun, your sensitivity, here comes the cat, here's Zoe, your sensitivity to these things is going to be even stronger than usual. Now, I don't know where you live. I know in the state of Illinois, marijuana, cannabis just became legal. Even something like that would be too intense on your system, okay? Just stay off of anything. Or if you are on anything, you're going to realize, holy crap, what's going on? I always take this. I've never had this reaction. That's what it is. It's because the Neptune is sitting right on your sun, and it makes you highly susceptible. Dangerously susceptible. So you want to pay attention if you're using anything. Definitely no alcohol during this time. Just be smart and be alert. Pay attention to your body and how it feels. So again, this is all around the 14th. It's actually, there's like the 5 days before Valentine's Day itself, and then a couple days after. Just be aware. Don't be excessive. And for you, you really can't indulge at all because of the fact that you have this high sensitivities to any substances, especially liquid substances at this time. Your changes that you're going through in relationships, the Pluto effect, because you have Pluto in your 3rd house and you have Saturn and Pluto over here squaring all that, you're going to notice a big difference. You're going to notice a big difference come March because Saturn is going to completely pull away and will no longer be squaring your natal Pluto. All right. So I thought you would like to know that because you'll see a change. You won't feel so restricted. All right. And these could be business relationships as well, work relationships. You might feel like you have a little bit more wiggle room. Now, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but at the end of 2022, very end of it, going into 2023, Pluto is going to get the hell out of Capricorn and will no longer be squaring your natal Pluto. Actually, a year before that, 2 years before that, so in about a year, you're going to start to feel additional ease on your health and in your work relationships, okay? And in relationships with siblings too. Anytime I've talked about relationships, this includes siblings and neighbors because it's all in your 3rd house. So that whole 3rd house, it's all your significant one-on-one relationships, whether they be business, whether they be with your siblings, whether they be with your neighbors, whether they be on the internet and social media. It's all being majorly squared and slowed down and stalled like multiple stop signs. This is all going to change over the next few years, and you are going to emerge as a new being. You're going to think differently. You are going to be differently. Now, June 5th of 2020, this is where I'm going to end this video. June 5th of 2020, we have an eclipse that occurs. For you, this eclipse happens in your house of romance. If you are with somebody at that time, or in the prior 6 months to June, if you have rekindled a relationship, this June eclipse signifies an ending, a release. And it's a release that you are probably going to initiate because of information that you've come across, because of a new awareness, because of a revelation. That is what this eclipse signifies for everybody listening. All of us, find out where 16 degrees Sagittarius is in your chart. All right, 16 degrees Sagittarius on June 5th. This is going to be about your belief systems. So you will have a revelation about your beliefs. So you will have changed your beliefs is what that means. And when we change our beliefs, we change our lives. And this has to do with dating. This has to do with romance. This has to do with children, because this is in that area of your life. Romance, children, fun, joy, creativity, the house that we take risks in, which you're not a super big risk taker because you have Capricorn there, and that doesn't work with Capricorn. They don't take risks at all. But you may become a little bit more riskier or something. But at the same time, there's a major release. There is an ending. So it's an ending about a belief that you have. You're going to take something and say, you know what? I used to believe this, and this doesn't work for me anymore. This is outdated. I need to literally put this in the trash can and receive a new download of information. And with that new download of information, you're going to come up with a new belief. And it's going to be beneficial for you. It's going to give you optimism. It's going to brighten you. It's going to tell you how to move forward in your life. It's going to help you in so many ways because it's going to bring in joy to you. And that's going to be very important. So my friend, with that, I hope that this has helped. If there's any additional information, if you want to work with us, just comment down below and we'll get back to you. We are affordable. With that, I hope this has all helped and have given you some relief. Bye.